There we are. All right, we are alive. It is 7:14 on 321 2021. This is Mike the Patriot coming to you live from Central Missouri. We are doing our interview series. As you're jumping on, say hi, where you're watching from. I really appreciate it. And I know there's going to be people watching from all over the country, even around the world, and that's cool. But we're going to talk about some local stuff here. We're going to talk about Central Missouri. So as you're jumping on, tell me where you're watching from. Hey, do me a favor, share the video. No one sees me unless you share it. Facebook is squashing me. So make sure you do that. Also, follow me on the Rumbles right here. And follow me on, let's see, there's my Telegram right there. Go over there. Lots of good stuff on there. As I'm making my videos, I share my thoughts on the Telegram. So a whole bunch of stuff doesn't make it there. So check that out. And let's see, this is YouTube. If you want to follow me there, if you're on YouTube, please subscribe. Hit the little button. The little like button and share it, comment, let me know you're there. And if you're on Facebook, please comment, like, and share this video. The more you do that, the more the algorithms are against me. They don't like me. So without any further ado, I'm going to introduce you to, I hope I say her name right. This is Brandy Van Holten. I'm going to let her introduce it. Did I say right?
No. Von Holten. There's no A in it.
I did it. I wrote it that way too. Doggone it. I apologize.
That's okay.
She's running for Pettis County Health Board, right?
Right. Health Board of Trustees. Yep. There's five. Yep. There's five positions on the board, and there's 3 that are open right now. So I'm running for one of those 3 positions. There's 10 people running. So
that's massive. And this is the first time in a long time that anybody's ran for the board. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, originally it was thought that nobody's ran for it in the last 30 years, but it turns out there was one position one time in the last 30 years that had to actually go to an election.
How's that possible?
Oh, just because I bet there were 3 positions open and 4 people went for it. So there had to be the election for
But how do they go 30 years without having an election?
Well, so I didn't really understand like the role that the health board had until the pandemic happened. And I just think that a lot of people are woke now, and we are, now we fully understand things, and, and now I want to make sure that my voice is heard, because most of our county, 70% of our county is conservative, and we're agriculture based. Well, I own a horse ranch, and we're cattle farmers, and we're conservative. So, I knew that there was going to be a lot of science to battle, and I used to be a science teacher, and I just, I just feel like I'm like a blue collar person, but then I think I would do better going against people that are in this, the other candidates.
Right. So. But there's some other good candidates running also. We need 3 of you to get on there.
Yes. And there's 4 that are like-minded, and we're just,
And so if we get 3 people on the board out of the 5, then we own the board. Is that basically?
Well, you would think that that's true, but what happened? You know what happened at the last board meeting? Those other 2 people that are on the board that were currently on the board whenever all this happened and were not happy with stuff, they tried to change some rules, the bylaws, that says that 4 out of 5 votes would be needed instead of 3. So we'll have to make sure. Sneaky.
That's right. So I do want to touch on something. Why am I doing this? These local boards, the school boards, the health boards, and all this stuff, they're the ones that affected your lives the most. As people around the country are watching, right? So I'm talking to the audience. They're the ones who made you wear the mask. They're the ones that told you to shut your business down. It's your local health boards. So I think reaching the local level, folks like you, Brandy, jumping in there into the arena and combating and trying to seize control of this stuff back is where it needs to be.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Everybody that I know that knows that I'm running for this, they're just like, politics gets so nasty. And I'm like, you know what? so what? Like, I'm so quick to tell people my flaws that they're not going to be able to use anything against me. And I don't know. I've never had a problem standing up for myself. That's why I'm here. I know whenever the pandemic hit, like we own 300 acres. It's a small trail riding facility. They told us we could only have 10 people on our property. And at the time, my father lived here also. So it was my husband, myself, and my father. So they said that that counted as 3 of the 10. And I was like, well, you let everybody go into Walmart. I was like, how many Walmarts would fit on my 300 acres? And then,
Right.
yeah, they just
6 feet distance, you spread that around. That's a lot of people.
Well, if you're on a horse, you shouldn't be 6 feet around anybody anyways. You're going to get kicked.
That's
So,
right.
yeah. Our family farm, it's been in the same family since 1906. And whenever they told me that, that I just took that as someone threatening my livelihood and my ability to make an income and my ability to keep this farm and our family on our watch. It's our time to keep the family farm going. And I just don't take lightly to someone that doesn't know what they're talking about telling me what to do. So,
yes, you got folks on a board who are generalizing everything instead of focusing. So, and of course, they let Walmart be open, but everybody else had to shut down.
Mm-hmm.
Because they couldn't let us go without food.
Well, and what's crazy is we're cattle farmers, so like we have a small cattle herd and we're like, dude, some of these ranches are bigger, way bigger than ours. And they're most definitely going to need more than 10 workers.
Right.
To be able to handle farms.
You're freezing up just a little bit. Are you
still there?
Yeah, I think we're okay. You just had a little glitch there for a second.
All right.
So this is the glories of life.
I do live out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. That's all right. It's
the town that I live in doesn't even have a post office.
Well, that's okay. that gives you more of a hands-on, earthy kind of background. Can you still hear me? Okay. So
I can hear you fine. Yeah.
Okay. Let me just say this, folks. Also, I'm looking at the chat right now. So if anybody has any questions or thoughts, go ahead and ask them, and we'll try to mix them in here. So let me ask you this. So the health board. So kind of give me how it kind of happened for you. I mean, we're a year into this thing right now. I mean, just the other day, someone was talking about it's a year. We're 365 days into the 14 days to bend the curve, So how does kind of work out that you decided to do all this?
Well, my husband and I both were not happy with how things have been handled. And our business changed up this last year, but the amount of people that were not able to attend the Missouri State Fair because of the decisions of our county and the fear factor, it just really hit home. And somebody's got to stand up. And we don't have children, and we are self-employed, and we just said somebody's got to do this, and it might as well be us. I originally, whenever 9/11 happened, I wanted to join the military, but I wasn't allowed to because I've got 4 plates and 14 screws in my face, and I was not accepted. And I used to do full contact fighting. Like I've been to 5 countries as a full contact fighter. And my family, like I have 3 college degrees, but in my family, all of my family members have more felonies than I have college degrees. And so I've always had to like fight to get up and do good and do right. And it's just in my blood to fight for what's right. And, I have all these college degrees, but now we live on a family farm and we're doing this horse ranch, and I'm like, might as well use them. A lot of times people think you've got to have all these degrees to get into stuff. And I'm hoping that those will help win over some people, but I want the voters that are voting for me to, come in with cow and pig crap on their boots and overalls on and make sure that they have a voice. So
Exactly, because
it
that's
just
who
kind of,
makes it all work anyways.
yeah, they're the one feeding everybody.
Right. So here's a question that popped up. It says, doesn't the local health board have to follow the state governor's, whatever the state governor says?
Okay, so like our state governor kind of passed the buck on to the county. So I wish that our state governor would have stood up and not have passed the buck on. So I don't know exactly how much they have to follow what the state governor said, but I know that our state governor, he could have been a little bit stronger and then not pass this on to the county.
Right. So basically he just left it vague so the counties could go, one way or the other, either like Springfield where they were like Nazis, or like the Lake of the Ozarks where they're like total freedom, and they had the biggest year they've ever had at the Lake of the Ozarks. And you had mayors of large cities in Missouri going to the Lake of the Ozarks and not social distancing and not wearing masks.
Yeah.
So it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, in our town, there was just some confusion between who has the power. Is it the health board or is it the county commissioners? And there was just like confusion, and it just, like, our town just needed some clarity. So it ended up being in the hands of the health board, but then there was like problems with a vote. And so it wasn't ever accepted by our county commission. And so they had a law, but it wasn't punishable. And so it wasn't really a law, because a law that's not punishable is not enforceable.
Right.
So in our own personal county, we were running around looking like a bunch of idiots. And our health board was scared. The people that were in charge were scared. I actually feel sorry for the administrator that's in charge of our health board, because I feel like it went from our governor and then our county commission, and then nobody kind of knew what to do, and then it had to come to someone. And so here's the person that the health board had hired, and then boom, it's a pandemic. And it's just a lot of responsibility for her. But now everybody sees that we need to have a voice and make sure things happen the way that they actually do. People now know the lineage of power and the power of the health board and what county commission has to do, and then who hires the administrator with the health board. Everybody knows a lot more now.
There was a big and someone was asking where we're located. This is Pettis County, Missouri. It's right smack dab in the central part of Missouri, and that's why whenever I open my show, I say live from central Missouri, because that's where we are, the heart of God's country. But that's what somebody's asking on here. And they're also asking, is your health board comprised of commissioners? That's one of the questions that's asked. I don't think that's the way we're set up, though.
Nope. Our commissioners, every February, they just approve the administrator that is brought to them by the board. Our board is made up of 5 people, and then we have the person that's over the actual health department, but they meet monthly and they discuss everything, and that administrator runs everything past the board, because the board is who hires her or who chooses her, and then the commissioners approve her for being paid. So the health board. Do you want to go or you want me to go?
No, go ahead.
The health board comes up. They're advisory, and they come up with these things like if something needs to be punishable that they're in charge of, but then the commissioners have to vote on it. And if the commissioners vote yes, then it can actually be enforceable. But if the commissioners vote no, then it doesn't go anywhere.
I see. That's exactly what David Goodson was just saying. He's another business owner in Pettis County. And he was saying that what you just said is that there's no mandate unless the commissioners sign off on it, or as I understand it, the city council could agree to enforce those rules even if the commissioners don't. But
So you've got to have good people in those commissioner seats. You've got to have good people on the board, and it needs to be a variety of people. It reminds me of whenever you're doing a soil sample in a pasture, we go around and we take a whole bunch of little bits of soil and we mix it all up. And then you take one scoop of that and go have it analyzed. Well, right now, our health board needs to make sure if 70% of our town is conservative and we're agriculture based, then there needs to be some conservatives on that board that are agriculture based.
Because that's where the income for this neck of the woods come. And we have some other large businesses and
right.
big business, like manufacturers and stuff like that. But really, this town for 150 years has been agriculture. This town's been cattle for 150 years. There's go way back and talk about that. But I'll get back to the health board. So you was talking about how there was some confusion. Can you kind of touch into how the confusion was created back in the summertime, how that all kind of worked out? That really got everybody fired up.
Yeah. Well, first of all, the health board and the meeting was just kind of theatrics, and they didn't listen to the concerns of the citizens. And at the time, of those 5 people, one person didn't.
Train coming. The train's right on the railroad track. Here comes the train.
So of those 5 people that they're voting on this, one did not show up. Okay. And then whenever they went to vote, one person refused to vote, and then 2 people voted yes. And then so of a board made up of 5 people, there were 2 yes votes, and they were like, oh, it passed.
Right.
So whenever they had a ton of people, there were 22 people that I'm showing that I have the health board minutes with me.
Right.
So there were people that were speaking and they were not being listened to. They were not being addressed. So one of the board members just replied with, "We hear you." But then they already had their minds made up before they came to that meeting. And so here we are.
Let me touch on that meeting a little bit, because I want people around the country to realize how Pettis County stood up in this. This is kind of an interesting story. So that was a meeting that you said 22 people spoke at, right? Yeah, but how did that meeting happen? Because before that, no one spoke at Pettis County Health meetings. What led up to? Can you kind of touch on that? Kind of how Pettis County got to the point where we had there was probably several hundred people social distancing inside that room when the people. But how do we get to that point?
Well, so I'm out in the middle of nowhere at my horse ranch, and I'm being threatened with a misdemeanor every time that we have more than 10 people on our property. And I know that there was restaurants that were, had to not allow people in there, and gyms that weren't allowed to have, business run. But I don't know if I have it right in front of me. I just know that a lot of people, other places were able to open back up, but our county was considered a hot spot, and it was because of our COVID numbers. But then our COVID numbers were skewed because of the way the administrator was reporting numbers. She was reporting numbers for COVID cases and for antibodies tests. So a lot of people were I think that's accurate. I think it's the antibodies test and the COVID test, because people were always concerned that the same person would be counted twice. But our numbers were always so much higher than what the state had for our county. So we were deemed as a hot spot, but then our numbers were crap. So then here we are having to follow our leaders, and our leaders are not reporting numbers accurately. And I'm like, well, why are you doing that? And I know the administrator, and she cares about everybody, but she cares a little bit, not the way that I want to be cared for. It's just a little bit too, controlling. So people are trying to get their lives back.
I don't know if you were involved in it, but I was actually down there. They were going to have a meeting and force this mandate through, but a bunch of people showed up to their office and protested, and that kind of Remember that kind of got out of hand. Some of that was streamed live, and that's what led to the next. Do you remember that?
Oh, hey, so get this right here. Do you know that some of the candidates that are now running for the health board were at that meeting, and they were going around writing down people's license plates numbers to turn them in. And now they're running for the health board, and I'm like, oh my God! Some of those people that are running for that health board are so far left.
By some of them people.
Oh yeah. Oh, I know. I would love for somebody to threaten me. They don't know that I did full contact fighting for 23 years, and I got daddy issues. No, but some of those people that are running for the board right now are so far left that they can't see the middle anymore. And like, I don't like the far 10% left, and I don't like the far 10% right, but that 80% that's in the middle needs to be taken up for.
Well, that's where most Americans are. Whether you're a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right, most Americans are there in the middle. Most Americans are where JFK back in the day was. Ask not what you can do for your country, what your country can do for you. We can argue about the size of the social safety net, but we need to get back to local control. Is where we need to get back to, and that's what this is all about. So I want to shift gears a little bit, and I want to talk about vaccines and the vaccine mandates. What's your opinion on the vaccines?
Okay, so my opinion is that there needs to be more long-term research, and the fact that some life insurance policies are not going to pay out because that's an experimental drug if you die because of complications. And I will tell you, it just feels nasty with how hard they're pushing for us to get this vaccine. Like, my true feelings on that is it can't be good. Like, I heard the other day that women are already having issues with mammograms that have taken the vaccine. So, but on the flip side, some older people I need to get them out of their house because they've locked themselves down because they're so afraid. So, but I'm not. So is my mother-in-law. A lot of people are scared to death, but as soon as they get that vaccine, they feel like they can get out. So I do need like the gears to get moving again. But I'm not going to take a COVID vaccine. I mean, there's got to be more research. And there needs to not be the urgency of these people shoving it down my throat. Like, that's scary for. Go ahead.
One of the things that's coming down the pipe, and this is even local businesses right here in the Central Missouri area, large businesses are giving people like passes or cards or stickers to put on says I've got the vaccine, so now they don't have to wear a mask. So I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, that sounds like Hitler is knocking on our door. It says, hey there, did we not learn from Hitler and his mistakes? I mean, what are you going to do, put us in a group if we don't take the vaccine? We know how that worked out. And I do find it ironic. Didn't know Biden and Kamala end up on the cover of Time magazine just like Hitler did. So if that's accurate.
Magazine, but that is accurate. But Time magazine will say, and I'm not defending them, they'll say, well, we just put interesting people on there.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, there's a lot of comments, and I don't want to chase too many conspiracy theories, but somebody says they need to be vaccinated from the TV. That's what's poisoning us.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've heard, and I don't want to give my source on this, but for good information, that people are getting the vaccine and then they're getting tested and tested positive because the vaccine has portions of the virus in it. That's how vaccine works. Does that make sense to you? Is that what I just said? Does that? Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that, but well, is there anything else? And if you guys are out there watching, you have a question that you want to ask her specifically, ask Brandy specifically about, especially if you're right in central Missouri. Now, mind you, you can ask the question later, but we won't be live to answer it. So if you're watching on the rerun. But anything else you'd like to add? Any thoughts? Why they should vote for you as opposed to, you know, some of the other 10 candidates that are running for these positions?
Well, and you know what? Like, we're not living in a perfect world and trying to make it more perfect. We're living in an imperfect world and we're trying to make it better. And that right there is probably the definition of myself and my upbringing, is that I'm an imperfect person that's just trying to get better. And I'm calm, but then I am firm. But then I know whenever I mess up, you know, and I don't mind. Like, I make mistakes daily, right? But some of the people that are running on the board are running for the board, I am so scared of. And I don't know how much I'm able to say on here. What am I able to say? Minus names?
As far as the election rules go, I don't know. But as far as I'm concerned, you say whatever you please. I mean,
I'll go ahead and like shots fired, right? So whatever. Like, okay, so in our area, we have our health department, okay? Well, then we also have a hospital, okay? Well, the chief medical officer from that hospital is running for the board. So last time I checked, those entities have two different voices. Well, whenever you put a chief medical officer onto the health board, it's going to be like a perceived hierarchy of who they should listen to. And also now you have two voices that are going to have one voice. So I don't know, it just looks like a little dose of socialism coming our way to our county. That's the person that I'm worried about the most.
Okay. They're trying to muddy the waters too. There's 4 good candidates running. And by good, I mean the point of view of freedom. And then there's other people running, and some of them I don't know. Okay, I don't know what their position. I doubt they'll come on my show. I'm looking to have all 4 of the candidates on my show. So, but they're trying to muddy the water. You know, if just one of those seats goes that way, then we don't gain control of the health board. So we need 3 candidates from this group that have agreed, and we need to change to get on this board, basically, is what needs to happen.
Correct. So. Yeah. Well, and I even did a Facebook post the other day. I have Brandy Von Holton for the Pettis County Health Board of Trustees. And I'm like, if you vote for me, but you vote for these other people, you've tied my hands. All right. I'm already going to have to. One of those 2 seats that's not up for election right now is a lawyer. Okay. So here's this farm girl ready to step up against a lawyer, you know, that's already trying to pass things before this election to make it where it's already more difficult to be able to do things. So, yeah, if they vote some of those other people on, I mean, like I'm going to be sitting there, I'm going to be like a feral cat in a room, you know, but I'm not going to be able to get anything done. It's so important.
Those live, because that'll be fun. So.
Well, that's one of my goals. The administrator said that it can't be done, and I'm all like, anything can be done.
I'm doing it right now.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know, right?
So, I mean, but there may be some legalistic things about it that
maybe we don't know about them.
Right. Well,
I wonder if those are the same HIPAA rules that, you know, we've got to have to be able to fly with a vaccine card. I wonder if those are the same HIPAA rules.
Well, I'm sure it's whatever you want it to be. As with most government rules, there's enough gray area there. And that was part of the problem that we were having, was there was so much gray area and so much as it went on. It was just one thing after another over the summer. I mean, everybody that's watching this around the country, you know what I'm talking about. It was one thing after another, after another that came down the pipe, and they were just like turning the screws up. And there was so much gray area for the local government to just move in, and depending on how much control they wanted, they could take it. So that's
Right.
why we're trying to
It's just
wrestle these.
disgusting, and it needs to be stopped. You know, we've already going to have a rough 4 years in front of us, and like it doesn't need to be any rougher with some very leftist liberals on our health board. So,
Well, right.
I don't know if I can say that, but I did.
Well, I don't know what the rules are. I think some of them are silly as far as local elections, but this is my show, so, and it's a nationwide show, so it is what it is. I mean, you're talking about people's politics, so it's okay.
Yeah.
So what else?
Last time I checked freedom of speech.
What's that again?
So what else? I said last time I checked, this looks like the freedom of speech.
Well, you would think, but you know, even on a national level, they're trying to chase off Congress people that they don't agree with because of something they said. So.
Yeah. Well, they cannot agree with me, and I'll just keep my beef to myself. Oh, are you able to hear me?
I got you now. Yeah, I thought you froze up for a second, but you didn't.
Okay.
So, anything else you'd like to add? The floor is yours.
No, I mean, like, the floor is mine. You know, I don't know. I wish that people understood more now, and you know how much hard it is to get funding for all of this stuff, because this is an unpaid position. And now I know how hard it is for people to get funding for stuff. I've already called people and said, hey, if you run again, I'm going to help you raise money. I had no idea. It always felt kind of for like a grown man or a grown woman to ask for money for things. But now I understand the position of the health board, and I also now understand how important it is for us to financially back candidates that are running for things and how much stuff costs. So this was like a huge eye-opening experience for me. I've always stayed away from politics because I always just have thought it was not fixable because of it being so just disgusting on the federal level for some things. But now I'm going to try to fix it. And I think there's a lot of people that are now willing to step up and going to try to fix things. So.
Well, I think you're right. There's a bunch of people stepping up locally, whether it's the school board or it's the Pettis County Health Board or some of the other positions, you know. And I think we're going to see some. I think we're going to see some interest in like the city council and stuff like that the next time that comes up. There's some bubble in there too. So, and again, anybody that wants to be interviewed by me can. And just hit me up on Facebook. We'll get together. A little self-promotion there. Speaking of self-promotion, you was talking about funding. It takes money to run for these, but you got to buy the signs, you got to put it out, you got to buy the ad in the paper, you got to do all that stuff. That all costs money. How would somebody, if they was wanting to write you a check for, you know, a large amount of money or a small amount of money, whichever, 5 to 5,000, whatever you want to do, how would they do that?
Well, they can send it to it's Friends of Brandy Von Holton. But you know what? We're kind of late in the game, and that election's on April 6th. I would actually rather them save their money because I've already got signs. You're never going to hear someone say something like that. I'm putting in, I think it would take too much time to get the money, get the stuff, and put it out. I would rather them save their money at this point because I've waited too long. I've got signs, I've got cards. I have polka dotted horses and stuff, and I've got some free events on April 3rd where they can come out, and I'm going to use some of the money I got to give away hot dogs and drinks and let them come out and meet some candidates. And I know I think right now I would be wasting their money with it being this close to the election.
Well, I tried. There's also another event.
I know. I don't want to. Yeah. Yeah, on the 30th, we're going to go to a wedding venue that's actually called The Venue, that's downtown in Sedalia, and they're going to be able to ask us questions. And I mean, you need to know who you're voting for. You need to not vote for people just because of what their last name is. And a lot of people, they do that. They vote for what's familiar. But just
Name
because someone's, yeah, just because you know them doesn't mean that they need to be in charge of you or in a position of power. So, yeah, people need to take the time to get to know what the heck they're voting for, and don't just go and fill in a bubble because you went to high school with somebody.
Right.
You know? That doesn't
And
mean you know them. That just means they knew you in part of your life. It doesn't mean that you actually know them.
And there's a lot of name recognition with some of the folks that are running, and I'm not going to plug them unless they come on my show.
Right.
Right. But
don't plug them.
Right. And so you got to kind of compete with that name recognition. So last chance. We're about 30 minutes into it. That's probably long enough. So last chance. Give your stumps. Why should somebody come out on April 3rd? Or actually, you can absentee. You can go down to the courthouse right now and vote. Well, not right now, but during normal hours,
right?
Like tomorrow, you can go down to the courthouse. Nicholas Strada's got it open down there, and you can vote early, vote early. And so what's your elevator speech? Why should people go vote for you?
So people need to go, and it's April 6th. April 3rd is when they can come get some hot dogs and meet some horses. Okay, for no card. Yeah, April 6th. Well, they should vote for me.
Get it out the way.
Yeah. Okay, so I have a degree in biology. I taught as a science teacher for 11 years. I'm a published author, and I'm actually writing books about how to help children overcome things. So using agriculture, and then our income is completely from the horse community, and then we have a small cattle operation. I mean, I am the Midwest. Okay, like literally, I am an educated cowgirl, and I come from some pretty rough stock, and I survived it. And just nobody's going to be able to, all of the poisonous that I've had to be able to deal with being in public education and being a professional fighter for 23 years. The people that are trying to cause havoc don't mean anything to me, because it's nothing. Because I'm a good candidate because my income doesn't matter on people locally. So even if some of the people that I'm running against try to rally and hate us, most of our income comes in from out of state. So they can't touch me and they can't buy me. So I'm just a strong person. And I've always kind of been like a mama bear, even though I never had children, because I had cancer, not because I didn't want them. But I don't know. I just don't see anybody being able to mess me up here locally. So you can get your strength from me, and I can take the heat.
Well, there you go. I can take the heat. That should be your sign. I can take the heat.
Yeah.
Maybe next campaign. Now you can put it out there. So, anyways, I appreciate you jumping on. We're gonna and telling your story, and everybody go out and vote on April 6th or before if you want to vote early in the Pettis County area. We need to take control of it. We got the school board and the Pettis County Health Board. And I'm going to do some interviews of some of the candidates on the school board. Also, we need to snatch these things back from these people who are, just like up at the state and the federal level. We got to kind of take our country back. So I appreciate you coming on with me. I hope you have much success, and everybody appreciate it. So we're going to go ahead and sign off. So I'm going to drop you out.
All right, thank you.
Sign off, and you have a blessed day, and everybody else out there, I'm going to do my goodbye. So see you later.
All right, thank you.
All right, I appreciate everybody jumping on. I'm going to do more and more of these interviews. And I know some of you guys watching from around the country are like, oh, big deal. But you got to understand, we have to take back our country, and the way we take back our country is local. And I hope you're getting involved locally. Take back your school board. Take back your health board. Take back your city councils. Don't let these people run roughshod over you destroy your businesses and livelihoods and schools. And I mean, this is our future we're talking about. Not only that, but these local small candidates are the training ground for the future candidates. These are the folks that some of them will eventually be running for your state representatives. They'll be running for your federal representatives. Who knows? They may be running for president one day. So we got to get out and support them. So with that, I do appreciate it. Hey, if you're watching me, maybe for the first time because because people shared this and you saw this, go follow me on Telegram. Go follow me on Telegram. Follow me on YouTube. This video will be posted on Rumble and YouTube. You can share it from there. You can share it from Facebook. Like, comment, and share. I appreciate everybody. You guys have a great day. I'm going to sign off and go home. I already had my fresh hot cup of coffee this morning. I see somebody commenting about that. But I'll be live tomorrow every day at 8:30. I go live. I talk about issues of the day. I talk about where my heart is. So with that, you guys have a great day. We'll catch you all later.